Yes.
Mental Fitness Matters. She's on the mic, and this morning, Patrick, Tracy, and Melissa are going to dominate the airwaves with energy and conversation because it does matter. And why should I care? Because I do. That's how I'm wired. So we are going to get conversation going. Tracy, thank you so much for being in here with us this morning.
Thank you, guys. I'm just pumped. Every time I get to see you guys every Thursday walking out, we have just so much energy that we share. So to be in the studio all together on our shows, I'm excited.
I am too. You know, it's like when we're in here, Patrick and I are interviewing and talking, and we see you come down the hall. It's like, oh, there goes Tracy. You know, so ready to hear your show. And with that piece, though, Patrick, we shared these energy. We have like 2 seconds to say, hey, get out the door, and then give the studio to you. We call it, we've warmed it up. There's a lot of hot air going on here to begin with. But this morning we are going all together, and let's just take this. Let's take our listeners with us on a ride.
Can't wait. Let's do it.
Let's do this morning. But first,
light up the studio.
It is. You know what's really cool about this is.
I'm here.
Yeah.
That is the coolest part about this.
That's it. You know,
Thank you. Good answer, Tracy.
That is the coolest part about this.
We should have her on our show more often.
Every week.
She treats me nicely. Pay attention. Take notes, Melissa.
Wait. Melissa, take notes to treat Patrick nicely.
Yes, write that down.
I don't know if I can do that
Write
2 weeks in a row.
Down.
Tracy will have to share him. Man.
Got it.
You had him this week. I'd already put up with him.
Bring it on.
If I
love
leave him in the studio one time, you know. But that's part of the fun, though, of relationships, is being able to take that banter. And Patrick's not over here crying in the corner. He seems to take it pretty well. He's not crying, is he?
No, not yet. Right. Not yet. We're just getting started.
I wait until I leave the studio, and then I go
and then it's in
curl
tears.
up.
That's right. Never let him see you cry.
Fetal position, thumb in the mouth.
It's just too much.
My blankie over my head, yes.
You know, it's funny, though, because we have these relationships within our worlds.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to pick and tease with these people, but don't do it in a mean style, of course.
Right.
There's a huge difference, and I've found, out the hard way throughout life sometimes, that some people don't have that sense of humor. And see, now Kia's already, she's feeling. Wait a minute, our producer, I feel like she's been there. Maybe you've been there. Have you cracked a joke on someone or teased somebody and felt like it went over their head? No, not at all.
Shook her head no.
She shook her head no, so she's always, her timing's perfect then. Obviously, I need lessons from Nakia because
she was the first one in the studio that laughed at you. I think she has.
I thought it was you.
Okay, she was the second person in the studio that laughed at you.
This morning. But let's talk a little bit about what makes you do what you do. So what makes you do what you do? So, Patrick, I'm going to start on you this morning.
All right.
So what makes you show up here every Thursday morning, 8 a.m., to help me talk to nonprofits? What is it about that makes you show up? It's not the pay.
Black powder coffee.
No, the coffee. There you
go. Delicious.
Delicious.
Oh, wow. So
Joe's going to get us for that.
We will get royalties from Local Biz Now. Friday mornings, 8 a.m. right here at WSIC.
Besides the coffee, what does it do for you, though, in your world?
Not one answer to that. Almost like a bullet pointed answer to that. One is your mission here, and forgive me if this sounds cheesy or corny, but I believe in what you do and all the jokes and sarcasm that we throw out here.
Right.
I believe in the mission here of why should I care, that there are so many good causes, so many people that need a voice. Yeah. You offer that platform to them. We've heard story after story for a year and a half plus now.
Yes.
All good causes, and these folks I don't think would have gotten their message out if it weren't for you.
And I appreciate that, Patrick, because that's the whole goal about getting people out here to get their story, because so many times you hear people say, if I had only known, or if I would learn something, I didn't hear anything. So I'm going to throw this over at Tracy, too. What is it like for you? You've got podcasts for Mental Fitness Matters, and then you come in here. Sometimes you'll have a guest, sometimes you go solo. What is your Thursday morning for you?
My Thursday morning for me is really kind of giving a platform to whether it's experts in the industry, regular everyday people. My purpose is really to kind of start a dialogue and conversation about mental health and mental fitness. I am a licensed clinical mental health therapist, so a lot of times there's a stigma around mental health.
Oh, yeah.
And so terming it mental fitness has seemed to, people are more open. People want to talk about strategies and performance, right?
Well, we physically fit. We're worried about our physical fitness.
Exactly.
Why not talk? Mental
Why not
fitness.
talk about our mental fitness and
Yeah,
recognize that our brain is a muscle and it's responsible for everything that we do? So when I show up here on Thursday mornings, I'm hoping to give somebody something to say, you know what, I can keep going.
And I am the first one to say that, yes, you do.
Thank you.
Because I am a faithful listener to your show. Can't do it right when it's going on live. A lot of times I can catch the second half.
That's not very faithful.
I go back and listen.
Sure.
Follow the conversation, Patrick. Have you gone back and listened? There is a quiz,
I don't
you know.
need to because I listen live.
Well, you take
I am your faithful
You know
audience,
why?
Tracy.
Appreciate
He
you guys
takes off
so
running
much.
out the door at 8:30
To
going, oh my
dive to
gosh.
the radio in my truck so I don't miss any of Tracy's show.
Okay, that's
Awesome.
what it is.
How's that?
We'll take that because anything else will just get him in trouble.
Right, right.
So we'll just go with that one. But here's something that I was listening to the other day. Sometimes I like to hear different people's opinions and thoughts on things. Do you have, Tracy, I'm going to ask you this one.
Yeah.
Do you have a personal mission statement?
That is a great question. Personal mission statement.
Yeah.
I would say something that I say to myself every single day. It's not necessarily a statement, but it is a statement. I say shine bright. Also say that with my family. So shine bright has a lot of meanings to me, but it means to shine. I think we all are called to shine in some way, and we all have a light. And whether it's been dimmed out because of what people have said or failure or whatever the case may be, I think to uncover who you truly are and to shine and let other people see that shine inspires people. So that would probably be my mission statement, shine bright.
How important is it for folks to be able to shine their light, Tracy?
Very important. I think a lot of times with things going on in the world can be so easy to dim your light,
Yeah.
right? Especially if you're trying to be who you are and you don't get positive feedback about that. So that makes you question or doubt yourself. But if it's true to you and if it inspires you, if it makes you happy, do more of that.
And that's what's so hard is sometimes we get confused and get mixed signals from those around us. It may feel right in here, but the response we get from outside sends those mixed signals. So then we start doubting ourselves, and then we retreat, and we maybe take one step forward and two steps back.
Yep. And then people are living in regret because they turn 50, 60, 70, wishing they would have just
You're
been,
talking to Patrick, aren't you? See?
you know, they wait their whole lifetime to start living. You can start living right now.
And that is so important because sometimes we think, I can't get to that now. It's going to have to wait.
Yeah.
And what happens when we wait too long?
Regret.
Exactly.
And then it's then you feel like you're too old, and it's like I wish I
Can't
would
do
have just
that
done.
now.
Yeah.
Why didn't I do it? And
Just do
here's
it.
the thing that this is one of the phrases that always frustrates me with folks is, if only I had known. We will never know.
Right.
Never know. I mean, there's certain things that are predictable.
Yeah.
There's routines and things. But if we wait too long, you just sometimes don't know. I mean, it's like we were talking this morning, and Tracy, you didn't realize that Patrick and I didn't know each other.
No, had no clue. Thought you
Right.
guys have been known each other for years. I wouldn't have known.
And
it
that's
just,
what's funny. It's like,
We almost met on air.
it was so close. It was very, very close.
It's incredible.
And that is what you don't know. If only I had known. Maybe Patrick, you know, if things had had changed differently with timing and all.
Yeah.
None of us know.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what's so strange.
And I think that's the beautiful part of it, the unknown and being able to walk into that, because it turns into something like this. You guys appear like you've been knowing each other for years, and you got an awesome show that you
Go
put
ahead,
out
say
every
it,
single
Patrick.
week.
Go ahead,
you know?
Patrick, say it. She said, it seems like. Go ahead.
I know. I was purposely keeping my mouth shut, but since you're teeing me up,
Yes.
it feels like we've known each other.
we've known each other forever.
But had you guys not taken that step, right?
Right.
So
Yeah,
if
step
you
into the
have to
unknown.
have it all planned
Because
out,
only it was supposed to be 3 months or something like that, and things have changed and rearranged in worlds. And
Yeah, I
here you
believe
are.
I was X amount of weeks or months. I don't
Right,
remember
I
the
could
time
borrow
frame.
him.
But like, you have it while she looks for another co-host.
yeah.
And well,
And here he sits.
a year and a half later,
There
she's
you
not
are.
getting rid of me yet.
Yep.
Exactly. Now, occasionally your world, now folks go back and look like at last week's show. I had a guest co-host because you don't just do pro bono all the time. You you actually have to earn a living.
I do other things. Yes.
Yeah, and so you had some racing things going on in your world.
Yeah, well, Tracy said something about making that leap and not having a regret. Well, I was involved in car racing my whole life, so I had an eyeball on Charlotte, North Carolina, just as the center of NASCAR. I thought somewhere down there's a career for me. I was not living anywhere close to here. I was living a life I wasn't really thrilled with, and your words there of regret. you were just talking about, Tracy. And in talking with my mom, I remember, gosh, a couple decades ago now, but at the time I'm talking to my mom and I said, I just don't want to get to a point in life where I look back and say, woulda, coulda, shoulda, wish I did, had that regret.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I transplanted here, quit my job, broke the lease on my apartment, loaded up a U-Haul van, and down I-81 I come into Mooresville, and I have an apartment and no job. But back then, it was still paper resumes. I had a stack of resumes and wide eyes and enthusiasm. I said, I'm going to make a life here. And it was the unknown. And one thing led to another. I had a career in NASCAR, and right now I work for an auto racing magazine, sell advertising for them. I was out in Illinois last week at a race, doing my job, actually. And so I missed, a show here. But I'm very fortunate that I'm in a job where I earn a living, but also I have time to come in. Yeah.
Right, the flexibility.
Why should I care?
Things.
Sounds good. Yeah, mental fitness matters. Yeah, that
Sounds
great.
great.
Sounds
Do
good.
that.
But as you just said, that stepping out into the unknown, into that place of fear, just doing it because you
Step
didn't want
one.
to have step
It's
one.
almost a definition of faith. There's an
Yes.
expression, I don't remember the exact wording, but faith is taking the first step of the staircase without seeing the rest of the
Yes.
staircase.
Dr.
Even
Martin
if
Luther King
someone
Jr.
gives
quote.
you,
Is that?
yeah,
Okay.
it's so fun.
Love it. Yeah, it's powerful.
And sometimes you don't see your own staircase.
Yes.
Sometimes in the days of internet memes, things get attributed to so many different people incorrectly. So I remember the message. And I was like, I know I'm breaking new ground here. I was like, don't believe everything you read on the internet.
Really?
Really? Don't get your news from a meme.
But
gotta be
don't
true.
feel like you have to see the next step to move.
That's
Right.
the point.
Right?
Right.
That's
Right.
the point. Don't
It's
feel
like-
like because you won't see the next step.
And
Bingo. You will
will
not
not
see.
see it.
Well, wait. I'll take that first step. Okay, what's on that second
Yeah.
step? You want to know? Is like you can't
don't.
see the
Again, that
second step
concept.
until
Yep.
you're on the
Yeah.
first step.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Take
And-
that leap. I did.
Exactly right.
And I've done that. With the
That's
regrets
huge.
I have in life are not the things that I tried and failed or fell down or anything like that.
Right.
But it's the times I didn't take
try.
the step.
Yes.
That's the regrets I have. The steps I took and I fell flat on my face. I go to bed at night. I'm cool with that.
You
Yeah.
learn something.
I
didn't you?
lived life.
Yep.
Yep.
Fine.
Yep.
The old adage, we played Little League as a kid. It's like, strike three, at least go down with that bat coming around and not sitting on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Tried.
strike three,
Just try.
but you were looking at the outfield, and I'm going to plant that ball out there.
Yeah.
I missed, but at least,
I tried.
okay, I tried.
And
Absolutely.
that's so
Fine.
important. So, and you seem to have turned out all right. Seem.
I'm okay for 30 minutes a week that you see me.
That's true. The rest, that's a whole other show.
But
We'll have to
but
do
you
another,
guys, as
yeah.
you were saying that, how do we, as we think about what we're dealing with now in our everyday lives, without the setbacks, without stepping out and trying, without the detours,
Right.
you don't learn. We don't grow.
No, exactly.
It propels you into something else that you didn't even know was waiting for you. So it's necessary. All of the trial and error, the just
Goodness.
attempting to take the next step, it's necessary.
And sometimes it's a suggestion from someone near you that sees something for you
Yes.
and says, you should try this.
Yeah.
And you go, And then they say, yeah, this aligns. And then you investigate it and you look into it.
Yeah.
And that is way we have to stretch ourselves outside of our comfort zone. Or
Absolutely.
we just don't grow. And there was there's so many really cool sayings on various different things. It's like sometimes there are things growing in your garden and you didn't plant them. So is it a weed or is it a volunteer plant? Sometimes you just got to check these things out.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's like you can compare so many things to growth with that. But let's change a little bit here. I want to talk some about nonprofits because we have talked with so many. I volunteered forever. I've been a part of. And what I have seen so much of, Tracy, and I'm going to get your input on this, that people will dedicate their life. They will lack sleep. They are so driven on the inside for the cause that they're involved in, no matter what it is. And sometimes I am just shocked at how much people are just engrossed in this one cause to the point where they don't see anything else. And to a point, sometimes it's good. Sometimes it owns them to the where they can't even see anything else. And they don't understand how come others are not as overwhelmed with this cause as they are. So it's really, really hard because we all have a cause that is close to our heart for something that's happened in our world, whether we're animal lovers or we've got a veteran in our family or we've had suicide touch our lives. There's so many organizations out there doing amazing things. What do you think goes on inside someone's head, their drive, that makes them get up every morning and sometimes not even sleep. They're so driven with this when they get to that. What happens with that, you think?
Well, I think there's probably a couple of things that could be going on, and without having a specific situation, I think when we think about anything that calls us to do something, there's a motivation behind it. And motivation a lot of times can be, just like you said, whether you're passionate about something, whether you're called to do something, that gets you out of bed in the morning. But I also think that with anything we do, there has to be a balance. So I also heard you say there could be times where we're overdoing it to a point where you don't sleep, you're not engaging with friends or family.
And it takes the love of it out.
Then you're burnt out. Or you're just doing it to kind of pass some time or to find and start your fire again and kind of take time from something else to figure out what you are into. I think a combination of things can be happening, but we have to know who we are. Because finding that balance within ourselves is going to allow us to recognize, am I doing this because of I'm trying to ignore my family or get away from my family? Am I doing this and spending time in this place to avoid something? Am I doing this to kind of bring something back?
So basically we need to, whether it be for a cause that we're so involved with or even work, we need to stop for a minute and figure out the whys.
The why. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Because the why helps us understand the behaviors behind it. Right? So why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I up all hours of the night for this purpose, for this cause? What's this purpose, right? How is it serving me or how is it serving others? And then assess the behavior behind it, because there's a payoff somewhere.
There is. And that kind of goes back to that. And I keep leaning back on this mission statement. I've not done it myself. I've always kind of not had anything written down because I always just kind of thought, I want to be the best me I can be today. And, well, I guess maybe I do have a mission statement if that's it right there. But
not a bad one.
It's not too bad.
That's it.
Wait, let me write that down. Patrick, remember that for me. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Exactly. But with that piece, it's like, how do we drill down and do that? I mean, it's like, how do I become the best me I can be?
Identifying who you are, right? Because I think there's so much outside noise. A lot of times when we talked about, for my mission statement of shining bright, that can mean several things to so many other people. Right? But if we don't know who we are, how are you being the best you that you can be? And so spending time engaging in self-care is huge. So when I talk about mental health, mental fitness, we got to spend time getting quiet. Because if we're so focused on the outside noise, whether that's social media, whether that's your friends, your family, your cousins down the street, that they have these thoughts and ideas about who you're supposed to be, right?
Nakia's got a cousin down the street. I can just
right? Everybody knows your life. Everybody knows what you're
do.
supposed to be doing. Like, we can get so consumed on somebody else's vision or words of us that you can lose sight of really what you're passionate about. So being the best person that you can be starts with taking a look and inventory of who am I really? What really gets me fired up? You know, am I just doing this because somebody else told me I'm good at it? I'm playing ball because somebody said I'm good at it?
Yeah, and what if you hate that
What
job?
if you hate it?
Talk a little bit about athletes.
Even
Have you
if
seen
you're good
that?
at it,
Yeah.
but you hate it,
Yeah.
you shouldn't be doing it.
Exactly.
Right.
But a
It
lot of
takes a lot out of
times,
it.
if you have, whether it's parents invested or they went to that school or whatever they think you're supposed to be doing,
Oh, that piece of it,
You
too.
want-
You're doing it for
as-
somebody else.
as the youth, you have to live up to now trying to keep this thing going, right?
That is.
So you may be working more on keeping your parents proud or keeping your family proud versus identifying who you are.
Oh, that's something right there. I need to stop and just think on that one for a minute. Why do we do what we do? So we need to recognize that piece.
Yeah.
And a lot of that goes into recognizing if it's something we want or something we have to. So you need to get with yourself, spend some time alone.
And try some things. I think, Patrick, what
Yeah.
you were saying before, you know, swinging the bat, try some things, especially when I'm talking, especially if our youth are listening right now, you're at a young enough age to make some mistakes, to try different jobs, try different hobbies, try it out.
Yes.
Because you don't know what you don't like unless you've tried it,
Exactly.
right? If you're
Yeah.
on this path just because I'm supposed to be on this path according to going to college or going to this university, if that's not really what you want to do, try something.
I agree.
Fail a couple times.
Yeah.
Get some experience in that. Then you say, you know, that wasn't for me. No problem. Go to something else. But don't be afraid to get out here and try some things.
It's that is so important too, because I think you learn more from what you don't like sometimes than it's real easy.
Mistakes.
Yeah, it's real
Mistakes.
easy to have successful days. Not so easy to have those days where you look back at the end of it and say, "Wow, that was a tough one.
Yeah.
That was a tough one." So what are you going to do with that tomorrow? What are you
Right.
going to do with that in the next day? Because they are going to be days that you wonder why and how and who and how did I get myself into this?
How did I get here?
How did I get here?
Yep. And
So-
if you're waking up in a career, in a relationship, in a place or a space, and you're wondering, how in the world did I get here? I think that's the best question you can begin to ask yourself. Any of us, at any point in our lives, how did I get where I am?
Yeah.
And am I okay here?
Right.
Am I happy?
Yeah.
We got to start to ask those questions. Am I happy?
And what are we letting those around us do to us?
Yeah.
That's powerful too, because it's almost kind of like that Superman and kryptonite kind of thing. Some folks kind of draw that power out of you. But
I heard a great. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
to
no, go
interrupt you.
ahead.
Heard a great quote this morning from a motivational video, and again, I'll paraphrase it. But don't let someone else's opinion of you become your reality.
Whew.
yeah,
Yeah, it was.
good.
Yeah, it was a. There was a longer piece, but that part of it stuck in my head. It's just someone that was told. You know, it was a longer audio clip, but someone was told something their entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you're dumb. You can't be taught. You belong in remedial classes.
Yeah.
And he finally had a professor later in life that just gave him confidence. It says, if if I look at you, how, gosh, I'm gonna mess this up now.
No, it's
but it's
good.
like, if I look at you how you were, that's how you're always gonna be. If I look at you what you could be, you will move forward. And this man was now the motivational speaker on the audio.
That is so powerful.
When he was a young kid, he was like left back in 5th grade, and he failed 8th grade, and he never had a college education. But just as life came along, you learned from the School of Hard Knocks.
So true.
Finally had someone that gave him some confidence.
Yes.
So he was just surrounded by the wrong.
You're going to
He's
start with
surrounded by the wrong people.
that quote on
Right.
the Mental Fitness Matters.
So, yeah, I
when we
was gonna say,
switch
we've
over,
only-
you're going to start with that.
I
That's
thought
a
we were going to
powerful.
start with hey, hey.
That's a
We
topic.
had to do-
Or is
We'll
that
start that
copyrighted?
one,
Do I owe you money now?
Here's the money now. Why Should I Care is
That's
wrapping
great.
up with Tracy Alston with Mental Fitness Matters this
But-
morning. But we are not going anywhere.
Don't change that anywhere. Yeah,
Don't change
right
that
here.
dial here.
Keep
We've
it
got
rolling.
so
Keep the energy
much going
flowing.
on. And that is one of the focus of Why Should I Care is figuring out what motivates people to be the best that they can be and how they can bring others around. And if you can't do it by yourself, grab a friend, do it together, try something new with a friend. And I've got 2 friends sitting in the studio, and we're not leaving this morning, so we're staying in here till 9 o'clock. So Nikea says we're still going.
Nike is one
Keep
of
it
them.
rolling.
It is. Keep it rolling. Keep it rolling. So don't go anywhere after the break. We'll let Tracy start this out.
Sounds great. Let's do it.
Yeah, so much. Oh, we still got a minute. Oh, I'm sorry. I
sounds
can't tell
good.
time this one. But I know. I can certainly keep talking because there were several other
Tell me
points I
about it.
know. Just keep Patrick, I'll let you talk more this morning than I normally do.
Thank you, ma'am.
And but don't get used to it because
Yes, ma'am.
normally we got to squeeze it in sort of amount of time.
I'll leave.
But look for the passion of what makes you tick. Figure out where you can volunteer your time, even when things do not feel like they're going the direction you want them to go.
Yep.
Go with it. Figure out what you can take from it, and learn something from just these most uncomfortable circumstances. There's something to be learned from all of it. Tracy, you've taught
Absolutely.
us so much too, and it's like I just like the energy. Nothing like positive energy.
Exactly.
Don't go anywhere. Stay with us.
Mental Fitness Matters teamed up with Why Should I Care for an hour-long show of positivity, information, and energy to provide for our listeners. I want to introduce Melissa Nieder and Patrick Reynolds. Melissa, tell us a little bit about yourself and Why Should I Care to the people who are just tuning in, and then we'll get into our conversation.
Yeah, let's just start with the radio piece of my world. There's so many pieces of the
Yeah.
puzzle. Our lives are so complex anymore. But what I really want to focus on is why should I care and how we connected. What is phenomenal to me is the way radio has so many ways to connect people. It's
Yes.
like you are no longer just tuning in on a dial. You can watch it, you can hear it, you can listen to it later. And that's important because my goal with Why Should I Care is having a guest that's working with an organization or a nonprofit that is impacting lives and making changes, and then bringing in us regular folks and volunteers to say, hey, doing good for someone else does good for me.
Yeah.
So Why Should I Care every Thursday morning, right before your show, is so important because we bring people and we make connections. So many times we hear people say, oh, if only I'd known, I would have helped. Well, guess what? I'm going
right.
to tell you. Now's your
how.
chance. No more excuses. We will find you an organization. We will look back. And so about a year and a half, we've been having a huge variety of nonprofits in here sharing things. And it is happening. It has grown into a life of its own. And I am so pleased to have that part of my world. It has been able to make connections for me in this community. and connections for those who really need it. So more hands on deck. There's
Absolutely.
never too many volunteers or dollars for nonprofits and organizations. Changing lives.
Yes, and it's so
Changing lives.
necessary. I love listening to your show, you guys, every single Thursday, and the guests that you bring on, because not only is it helping so many other people, but it's providing us education about what's going on in the community. And like you said too, when you help others, it also helps yourself.
That's my mental fitness, as I call it a lot of times,
Yeah.
focusing on that one, because when you come outside of yourself,
Yep,
you realize that other people have got their story, their problems, their burdens.
that's right.
So how can I take from my world and help them? In turn, it comes back around and gives you joy on the inside.
Absolutely.
And then Patrick over here, you know, he's a what would you call voice support?
There you go. He's
You
the
got moral
all-star.
support, you got voice support, but he's there as a way to bridge any gaps that there might be. You know, it's a world of its own with radio. And Patrick, you're a natural at a microphone. We've seen you talking to yourself on a regular basis.
I do. I can't. I have to listen.
Right. Somebody's going to listen to me, but it has to
It'd
be
be
me.
me.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, I'm so glad to have you guys, and I'm glad we've been doing this show the hour long, because we get a chance to dive into several different topics. I want to pick up actually where we left off on your last show. We were kind of talking about thoughts. We were talking about the opinions of others, how we're tapping into our purpose, our call, and who we are, and knowing who we are. And Patrick, when we left off, you said a quote that I want to just dive a little bit deeper into. Can you say that again for this new audience that may be tuning in right now?
I don't think I can. I had it wrong.
Like you,
But
the
then
producer, can back you up
Like
here.
he
It
had
is,
worked it out for
don't
us.
let the opinions of others form your reality.
Don't let the opinions of others form your reality.
Yes. If you're surrounded by the wrong people and they tell you that over and over again, you
start
will go
believing
down the
it,
wrong path.
You might start believing it yourself.
You might start believing it yourself. And I
Yeah.
like when you said that, because it ties into our thinking and our mindset and our perspective. And I think as you kind of shared pieces of that story about, somebody may have an opinion of you, and the person that you were referencing went on to be a motivational speaker, really turned
Yes.
out to be very successful.
Yes, the person that said this, was deemed in a younger age, through elementary school, grade school, to have some mental issues, was left back, had trouble learning, failed 8th grade, grades were not there, and it wasn't in later in life. I don't know, he was not college educated either, but he had a teacher later in life that gave him confidence and looked at him with his potential and what he could be.
Yeah.
And he reached that, and this was actually the gentleman that was speaking right now on this audio tape that I heard this morning. He was the motivational speaker, inspiring an audience of people.
How powerful is that, guys?
Taking your own story.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so powerful when it's inside of yourself.
Yes.
And you can really speak to it. And you're walking proof then that it's like, okay, so you were given this weight of negativity.
Yep.
What do you do with it?
Right.
Where do you drop it off? Where
Right.
do you turn it into something that works? Take that weight and work out with it. Make you stronger.
Absolutely. And
you
we have
stronger.
that choice to make every single day, because every single day we're going to hear words, we're going to see things, we're going to say something. You may get feedback about something that you can make a choice in that moment, decide, I'm going to stop what I'm doing, or I'm going to figure it out and keep going.
Yeah.
So if that individual had taken on the comments of being incompetent or failing or whatever the case may be,
Right.
they wouldn't be where they were today.
And sometimes that doesn't come instantly. I don't know how the speaker referring to. Sometimes it takes years to get through those.
He sounded
pieces.
like an older. It didn't sound like a young man.
Right.
It just sounded from the voice, and
So
I'd have to
it-
do some
right.
research as to who it was. But
So
yeah.
throwing back to the previous half hour, we were talking about the word regret.
Yes.
That piece of that one. Don't regret anything. If you've had that weight tied to you, what are you going to do about it now?
Exactly.
It's not too late.
And a lot of times that regret comes from just kind of holding back on doing what you know that is something different inside of you.
Yeah.
So you're feeling regret a lot of times if you're not doing what you really want to do.
Yeah.
And for whatever that reason may be, whatever that block is, you really have to find out for yourself, what is it that I'm called to do?
Yep.
Who am
Get
I?
out of your own head.
Get out of your own head. And
Yeah.
The same audio.
Yep.
that
Yep.
I was listening to touched on this as well. That where the gentleman listened to all the motivational speakers, Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar,
Yep.
all the big names. He attended seminars, and he would come out of those things pumped
Pumped
up,
up.
excited. I'm gonna do this and with my
Yep.
life and that, and his heart was telling them. And boom, his head asked him, "Okay, dude, How
Yeah.
are you going to do it?
Yes,
Yes.
the
And
how.
that, Kim, is exactly the reference we made with the staircase
Yes.
with Dr. King.
Yes.
Faith,
Yes.
faith is when you step on the first step
That's
without
it.
seeing the rest of the staircase. Your heart, I'm saying this gentleman came out of these motivational sessions and said, my heart is telling me go for that first step.
Yep.
And it's the rest of it. That was his head saying, wait a minute, where's the rest of the staircase?
Yep.
Which is logical.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes your head is the worst place you can be.
Exactly. Especially if you're not able to block out that mental chatter and the noise that's kind of keeping you stuck or
Oh,
holding
the
you back.
chatter and
the
the
chatter
noise.
and the
Yeah,
noise, you know.
it's calm the brain.
Yeah, and making sure that the chatter and the noise is something positive and something that can uplift you instead of sending you in the opposite direction.
Yeah, because that's what everybody says. Well, don't let it bother you. Well, okay.
Sounds great.
Yeah, sure. Don't let it bother you, Tracy.
Right. But think
Right.
about that. When people say that and they're like, well, I've been thinking like this forever. How can I not let it bother
Yeah.
me? But that's exactly what that is. It's a habit of thought.
It is.
And so if you have a habit of thought that's not serving you, you have to practice a new thought. And so just like we were kind of mentioning the parallels of physical fitness and mental fitness, your brain is a muscle. So just like you get into the gym and train and condition your body, you're working on bicep curls, getting stronger, you have to work on a thought process that's going to negate all of the negative things that were said to you in the beginning. If you have practiced a habit of thought that I'm a failure because that's what somebody said about you, and that's all you say to yourself over and over again, that becomes a default message. It becomes a default message. So we have to really train our mind like the muscle that it is to hear something different. So whether you're consuming podcasts, whether you're reading books, whether you're turning on Zoom and doing something inspirational or motivational, tuning into these shows, you got to start to train your mind in the way that you want it to go.
I got one for you.
Yeah.
Can you train someone else's mind?
Through neurofeedback, we can do some brain training.
We
But
can drag them
when
in.
you say that, what do you mean?
Right. So
I think
here's
you
the thing.
can.
A lot of times
There's a
you will
show at 8:30 on Thursdays that helps you do that.
Oh, I heard Mental Fitness Matters. Make them listen. Subliminal message. Listen to Tracy. Listen to
That
Tracy.
is my role here.
That's it. Because so many times you will see people sinking their own ship. A lot of times, what do you do when you see someone that you feel like they're sinking themselves?
Yeah.
I'm like, and they don't want to hear, and they don't want to change, and so again, you're carrying their weight for them or with them.
Yes.
And yet they're stuck.
And I would say to that, especially depending on the relationship you have with that
Right,
individual, but if
right.
somebody you completely don't know and you only see them every other week,
Yeah,
you
that's
continue. You got to
touchy.
continue to hold them in the vibration in which you see them. Because if they see themselves somewhere and they're keeping themselves stuck, you jumping down in the pit with them is not going to help them get them unstuck.
Exactly. I like the pit.
You can't
Yeah.
jump in the pit and rescue somebody from the pit. You
They
got
have
to
to
stay on
want it.
top and kind of still provide that rope of, no, I see you differently.
Yeah.
Continue to call them as you see them. Maybe they can start to see themselves in that way. But recognizing we're responsible for our own.
And how you do it. You can't tell them what is wrong with
Right.
you. You can't walk
That's
up
not
and say
gonna
you
go
got
over so well.
problems.
There's
No.
no difference between mental fitness and physical fitness. If someone is out of shape
Out of shape
and
minds.
you look
Yeah.
at them and say, boy, that person's really out of shape, I could get them to the gym and train them
Right.
and show them a healthy eating style and lifestyle and get them very healthy and fit. If they don't want to do it,
Right.
Yeah,
it's
it's
a
gotta be
lose-
the want
They have
in
to
there.
want to do it.
Gotta
You can
want.
show them the how,
Yeah.
but you can't
Do it
make
for-
them. You can't do it
Exactly.
for
Make them
right.
take that first step. Make
The
them,
reference you say about the pit.
Yeah.
It's like, well, they're eating a lot of bad food and they don't find it's just sitting around all day. It's like, well, you starting to eat bad food and you starting to
Right.
sit around all day and not exercise, that doesn't help them at all if you're a fit and healthy person.
Exactly.
You have to show them, and sometimes leading by example.
That's
Always leading
That's
by
what,
example.
I was going to
is the
say
best
that.
way.
Yeah.
Always leading by example, because we are all, I think, like we've just mentioned, we're all still working in this process of learning more about ourselves and other people. So it's going to always be part of the journey. And I think a lot of times we're working on that end goal. We're so focused on the end goal that we forget about the very powerful steps that we're taking. Every step matters,
Yes.
brick by
does.
brick.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
not
what's
just
the first brick, Tracy? What's the first brick?
self-awareness.
Okay. Know who you are.
Self-awareness and
Okay.
being able to recognize the emotional responses that we have that leads to the choices and the decisions that we make. A lot of times if we have a thought, it leads to an emotion, which leads to a behavior. If we're not aware that that thought, is it my thought? Is it your thought? Is it social
Where's it
media's
coming
thought? If it's not if I'm not aware whose thought it is, and then there's an emotion that comes up. So like you just talked about somebody being in the pit.
Yeah.
If I'm down and sad, am I down and sad because I'm down and sad, or because I'm viewing somebody else being down and sad? So my awareness of where I stand in that moment, my emotions behind that moment, is going to help me greatly when it comes to making choices and decisions about my life. But if I'm so all over the place, and that's why in the work that I do, I really teach get centering, especially when we do individual work, quieting the mind. Because if you don't get quiet,
and that's not
the
easy.
Rabbit race, it's not easy, but it's a practice.
But you need to.
You have to do a daily practice. Mental fitness, just like physical fitness, is nothing that you grab overnight and you got it forever. It's something that you have to work on daily. So that could be positive affirmations. That could be breath training and exercise.
That
meditation.
one's important too. I was going to say, a lot of times, I even made a reference to this the other day with you.
Yeah.
I forget to breathe.
Yes.
Have you ever noticed your shoulders are up in your ears? You're feeling tense. You forget to breathe, and it's a shallow breath. It's like, okay,
shallow breath.
Stop.
Yep.
Breathe a moment. Recognize where you're at. Be present in a moment. Because right now, I want to be present in the studio.
Right.
Doing the show. Because this is something that you take with you from now on.
Absolutely.
And if you're not here and you miss that moment, you're not going to get that moment back.
Being intentional.
Yeah.
Being intentional.
It is so important on that one, too.
And so I think that first step has to be being aware. So, because if not, you got all these blinders going and you don't know that things need to change.
Right. And sometimes you don't know what you're doing to other people.
That's a big one.
Shoo. Yeah. What is your impact on the world around you?
Yes. It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. When you walk into a room, a lot of times you can feel the impact.
Oh, you can. And you just gotta,
either way, you can feel that. And so,
I can.
you can feel the energy in the room.
Oh, here comes Patrick.
But it's a big deal. And you had one thing on the show that we just did, Why Should I Care, just starting out at 8 a.m. You were talking about people in nonprofit, what drives them, what keeps them going, and how helping people is really also good for our own mental health.
Yeah.
And there's science that shows that when you get out and you do something. So if you're feeling stuck or you're feeling like you're at a place and you don't know what to do next, get out and serve. Yeah. Get out and help somebody else.
It takes, if nothing else, it takes your mind off where you're at sometimes and realize that, hey, I'm not the only one whose world is all rearranged.
That's it.
Things are not always in that good point. And folks, sometimes it's like the word happiness can be used so loosely. It's like you can be happy even when your world is messed up.
Yes.
Even when things are out of the ordinary, you can still find, I'm not talking 24/7 happiness.
Right.
That's unreal.
Right.
That's unheard of.
Right.
That is, who wants to be the same emotion all the time anyway? Then you don't appreciate the good ones.
Right.
It's like, because vacation, if you're doing that every day, it's no longer vacation.
That's it.
So it's that whole mental piece of having something that takes you to that direction of, I don't know, joy, happiness in your mind, and serving. That is, that one is a part of my world, as far as I find that is just, it's priceless.
Yeah.
To be able to know that you caused someone else to smile, someone else to feel like, oh, I can make it through my day.
We get that warm fuzzy from it, like an endorphin release. Or I'm sure there's much more.
Yeah, we'll leave those professional terms to Tracy.
That Tracy can handle.
Yes.
She's nodding knowingly, like chuckling in her head. Yeah, keep talking.
Fuzzies,
science,
man.
dude. The warm fuzzy.
Put it in language we understand.
Yeah.
That's
it
true.
is so important for
There's
folks
a chemical
to realize
reaction,
that.
and you just feel good about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it helps, and then you help someone else.
Yeah. So
World's a better
spread
place.
that, and you
Yeah.
spread that,
Spread
and
that
so
joy. It's
that
easy,
could be a mental fitness exercise. When we talk about just being intentional and showing up in that place, is really just being intentional about being kind. Starting there.
that's an easy one too to start
That's
with.
an easy one
An
to
easy
start
beginning.
with. Yeah, where you can just say, you know, what can I do today? I don't know. I don't really feel my best. I don't know what to do. You know what? Let me just try to be kind.
And here's another one too. Sometimes I feel like some folks are so frustrated in their world that they're aiming intentionally at anyone that's in their path. And they will strive to put them where they are. And I don't even know if they realize how much that they're trying to grab people on their way down, but it's like going down this hill at a high rate of speed, and you're just grabbing at arms, legs, limbs, whatever. Just come with me, man. I can't do this on my own.
Come drink the soda and the junk food with me. We just talked about that.
Right.
Like,
Yes.
Come
So-
do my
Yes.
thing. No.
Yep.
Well, Tracy, here's the first thing that with Mental Fitness Show, you have given these tips, everything from financial to mental exercises. And truly it does help, because it brings you to that point to recognize your own thoughts. What can somebody do today? Their day is already rolling. They've missed that morning to where I didn't get up that early start. I've already got my day rolling. It looks like it's going to be a tough one. What can they do today?
They can start right now by setting an intention about what they want the rest of their day to look like.
Can you change that? If it looks like even while your agenda is spread across your calendar, it looks horrendous.
Absolutely. If you got a Zoom call coming up and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be on another Zoom call, that right there is an opportunity to change your mindset about how you hop on the Zoom call. Because remember, you show up and bring that to the room. It's not about waiting on the condition to change. It's you change the condition. And so often we wait on, I'm going to go to this meeting. It's going to be boring because
I'm not going to get anything from this.
Right.
It's another
it's
one.
Conditional.
Yeah.
But if we can show up intentional, then it doesn't matter what the condition is. You can be happy in any situation. You can be fulfilled and satisfied in that situation. So what I would say right now, what somebody can do, if your day's starting off and it looks like a long day ahead, meeting after meeting or a conversation after conversation, you're disengaged, go ahead and change your mindset right now to, I'm going to bring something interesting to this meeting today. I'm excited about what I'm about to watch or observe or listen to. Show up with the intention of how you want to feel and look for that. And I guarantee you will find it. I want to find somebody to engage with, have a positive interaction, a positive experience. Be intentional about that. Don't just come so you can react. Show up so that you can be a part of that change.
And that is contagious for the rest of your day.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
And the energy.
Yeah.
It's like I will leave this studio today just pumped and my brain's getting muscular as we sit here. I just feel it bulking up in the brain. Brain bulking.
I got
Brain
another
bulking, I
quote
like
to drop
that.
on you.
Oh boy, here comes it. Wait,
Yes.
everybody hold still.
When you believe it, you will see it.
Yes.
And yes, I
Yeah.
did say that correctly.
I like that.
No, wait, no. What you got? Kia's got another one.
No, don't
She's
nod
shaking.
your head. No. When you believe it,
Yeah.
you will see it.
Yeah.
I had a former pastor. He's no longer at the church, but he was there. And I spoke to him a few years ago after a message on Sunday morning. You know, we're out in the atrium chatting and whatnot. And I said, hey, it was almost like you wrote that service for me with what was on my heart and my mind that day. And he said to me, you know how many people tell me that each week?
Well,
and we're
that's
not all
awesome,
doing the
though.
same
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, he said
That inspires him, though.
The point
Right.
is
I'll
like
take that.
you are going to hear. I'll say the same thing. 1,000 people are going to hear, but you're
Right.
going to hear what you want to hear.
Yeah, and
you're
gonna
going to see
what you wanna
wanna
see. Right.
This Zoom meeting sucks. I don't
Yeah.
want to do it.
That's what
Guess
you're gonna-
That's what it's going to get.
Yep.
You know
Yeah.
what? This Zoom meeting is going to be pretty cool. I'm going to see some cool people, and something here is for me and of value. You'll get it out.
You're going to get it out of
Exactly.
It's gonna be that way. So
That's
show
it.
Up, show up intentional.
Intentional.
And that's what will happen.
it. Yeah.
It's contagious, isn't it?
When you
Yeah.
believe it, you will see it.
And there's
yes,
so much
Nike, I
power.
said that correctly.
But he might see it and believe it.
You might get both.
You might get both.
And think about the power in that, right? Think
Believe
about
it
the
to achieve.
power.
You got to
right?
put that achieve in there.
Achieve
See?
it. Yes.
Achieve.
You will achieve it because that's a powerful statement. That's a powerful observation.
See,
Nikki
the energy.
needs a mic.
She does. We need to put our producer on the microphone
Yes.
here, which she's done
Does
before.
that, does that work? You want to lower that? No, okay.
No, she-
No, good head shake. That's
It's
cool.
more fun to point at you. Stop it, Patrick.
That is also my role here. Scapegoat, blamer.
Yeah, but take control.
Yeah,
Just take control. That's what you can do right now. If the ball is spinning and you're not sure what to do next and you feel like you just need to do something different, just do that. Just try to switch your thought about whatever it is that you're about to engage in and see if things change.
It is important. It's like, too, a lot of times that if we change the room we're in, if we're staying in the same spot too long, change your atmosphere. Step outside.
Yes.
That's my healing
Yes.
place. Put your feet on the
Yes.
ground. Be outside. Even if it's hot, it's okay.
Yep.
Step out there for a little while and
Yep.
just be a part.
And as you're thinking about that, that's a part of your mental fitness toolbox. That's part of your self-care.
I like that word,
You
too,
know,
the toolbox.
It's the toolbox. So think
It
about
is.
that in ways to support ourselves. Identify what works for you.
What works for you. And
know?
pitch out those tools that are broken.
Right.
I mean, if it didn't work before over and over, don't
Right.
try it again.
And maybe it just
Yeah.
needs to sit on the shelf for a little while and come back to it later. It might
That's
have worked
true.
last
It might just
week.
be a wrong fit
yeah,
for the day.
it just might be a wrong fit for today. But start to fill your toolbox with something that's going to push you
Mm-hmm.
forward. So identifying whatever that is, going out into nature, reading a book, listening to music, checking out podcasts, spending time with family, friends,
Yeah.
but finding ways that things are supporting your mental health.
Mm-hmm.
If you're engaged in something and you feel better after doing it, do more of those things that are supporting you and do less of the things that are bringing you down. If
Oh,
you
yeah.
feel worse after doing it,
there's a
right,
reason.
let that
What's
go
it-
for a
yeah.
moment. You know, it might not be the best thing for you.
There's some physical health parallels to what you're saying too.
Yeah.
There's so many ways to exercise and work out in the gym and physically.
At the
But
same time,
if you
too.
dread it,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not going to be a good one. There's so many different ways. Find one that you like
it.
and that you're enthusiastic.
And then there's the guilt of when you don't have the time in that day. I didn't work out today. I'm going to be
Right.
in terrible shape tomorrow.
okay.
Yeah.
It works in reverse too, because
Yeah.
people set a New Year's resolution in January 2nd, they hit the gym. If you are out of shape on January 3rd, you're suddenly not in shape.
Right.
It doesn't work like that. The fact that you went to the gym on January 2nd is really good.
Absolutely.
But I think people bail on programs too early. Mental fitness as well.
Exactly.
Why don't you try meditating or journaling or reading a book?
Yeah.
Well, they get one chapter into the book, they journal for one day, and they go, I
That
didn't
didn't
feel
work.
any
Yeah,
better.
that
Tracy,
didn't work.
I didn't get it to work. I did it
Exactly.
for 2 weeks.
That is
Yeah.
exact
Right,
example
yeah.
of
If you bought a commercial
Yep.
on WSIC and it aired once,
Yep.
how effective would that be for your business?
Yeah.
There's no difference.
Yes, no difference.
You know,
Got to keep at it.
yeah, the
Keep
mental
at it.
the mental aspect. Of
And
it.
recognizing that there's being gains made all the way through the process.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you're building muscle, you don't see that you're building muscle until you get a rip or a cut. And it's like, oh man, that was
Oh,
3
there it
months of
is.
work. There
Yeah.
it goes. But you're right. We look for the goal to show up at this day 2.
Instant gratification.
Instant gratification. And we bail out on the process.
I'm hungry. Well, there's Doritos right there in the vending
Yep.
machine, or
This didn't work.
there's broccoli in the garden.
He's taking it outdoors.
You know.
Patrick is snacking in the yard. He's getting therapy, good eating, and
I'm wrestling the
exercise.
rabbits in the woods for lunch.
Oh, that's great.
Put a picture with that though too.
Yeah.
Paint the picture that
Yeah.
and the humor that is so important
Yes.
for my world.
Laugh.
Laughter.
That's my role.
Laugh.
That's the role.
Yes.
Hey, you just stepped up a notch, you and the rabbit. But it was really so important though to be able
Look at
to
you
laugh at
laughing.
yourself.
Laughing
oh my
with me or at
gosh.
me out. As long as
Exactly. It's
you're
the
laughing.
laughter. It's so important to be a part of that too.
It is. And Melissa and Patrick, I can't thank you guys enough for what you guys do every single week and just being a
you
part.
too.
I'm so
You
glad
too.
that we're connected.
I'm thinking
you know, it's just,
I know we're about
this
to
is
wrap
healthy
up.
mental fitness.
Right here, I know we're
You
about to
know?
wrap up, but I'm feeling like
is
this
great.
is something developing here. I'd like to see us be able to do this again.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We
And
definitely
And then
will.
I would like to even reach out to folks that are listening or watching.
Yep.
Hear what they want to talk about.
That's
What's their
it.
mental? What piece can we do to help them?
I love that. And so,
Probably at least one of us has been there.
yeah,
can help
e-
people.
Or,
exactly.
yeah, we can help. We can make
Exactly.
the connections.
I want my Mental Fitness Matters community to shine bright like the stars that you are. Patrick and Melissa, thank you for all you do and keep shining
Thank you,
bright.
Tracy.
Have a
Awesome.
great week, guys.
This is
Tracy.
fun. Thank you.
This is fun. See you soon.